Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. I am Tutuario and I want to share my ICF exam experience with you. So if you're planning to take the ICF exam, this is the video you need to watch. Now I am super excited that I passed the exam. Yes, and I thought it would be helpful to talk about the whole experience, the journey, what worked, what didn't work, the exam requirements, exam tips that was like a game changer for me, and as well as the resources that I used and a few other things I wish I had known earlier. Now, I chose the ICF ACC part because as a coach, I wanted to be a better coach, deepen my understanding of the ICF core competencies. So, getting the ICF ACC certification wasn't just about adding letters to my name, neither was it a checkbox. It's about leveling up. Now, the ICF certification process gives you the capabilities and credibility to stand out. So, for me, it's a commitment to being a better coach and a leader. I mean, especially if you work with individuals and teams, they deserve the very, very best version of you, right? So the ICF certification felt like the next step for me to take to really show up in my work. There were some key changes in the ICF exam. So let's talk about the updates. In August 2024, the ICF decided to tweak the exam format a bit. They reduced the numbers of questions from 81 to 78 and increased the break time from 5 minutes to like 10 minutes. That extra breather was a lifesaver. It gives you enough time to stretch your legs, grab some water, and get your brain back in gear before you go right into the next round of questions. So I want to say thank you, ICF. It was particularly useful for me as I had an issue, which I will talk about in the tips for exam dates. So continue to watch. Let's talk about my study strategy. When it comes to studying for this exam, don't, and don't wing it. The exam is not a casual quiz, it is thorough. Here is what worked for me. ICF resources, I started with the basics. ICF Core Competencies, their Code of Ethics, and the updated standards. I also used lots of YouTube videos, so shout out to Lisa the Art, Daniel Olexa, and Peter Reddings are absolute legends. I created playlists of their content, which I watched during day and night, and also got some playlists from my coach. So I want to give a shout out to Coach Femi. So I use mock exams. I made full use of this mock exam from ICF portal and exam analysis on YouTube and third-party providers like Solution Academy and expertcoach.co. I practiced them like 4 to 5 times each. So practicing them helped me to get familiar with the format. And note, I also read some books too. I love reading, right? Marcia Reynolds' book, Coach the Person and Not the Problem, and The Human Behind the Coach by Claire Pedrick and Lucia Baldelli. I am a firm believer in using every available resources. So yes, I pulled all the stops. So if there's anything out there, I have probably studied it. I studied till I had what I call reading nausea. That is my word to describe when you have read and read and you have read some more and you're full of what you have read such that you can't take any more. It's not funny at all. So I literally felt like that. And I used a Kanban board to stay organized. And let me tell you about the real MVP of my study journey, the Kanban board. I created a physical Kanban board with 3 columns: to do, in progress, and done. I use it to track my tasks each week and it's worked like magic. Every time I move the post-it note from in progress to done, I felt like I was crushing it. And I have it on my left side of this text now as I shoot this video. So this wasn't about crossing things off the list or anything like that. But as I was actually using a physical board, which gave me a visual representation of my progress, which kept me motivated. It also helped me balance my study session with work and with life and family life, because I could see exactly what I've done and what was left without getting overwhelmed. And let me tell you about my journey to the ICF ACC. Now let's rewind to year 2022 when this all started. I was already an agile coach and I thought I had things under control until I met my coach. He had this calm, balanced approach, and I wanted whatever it was he had. And I didn't even know what to call it at that time. But I just knew I wanted to be more like him. It was through that experience that I realized coaching is about much more than the techniques and the tools that we've learned as an agile coach. It's about self regulation, using yourself as a tool to bring out the best in others. I got introduced to organization, relationship system coaching, ORSC. And as we came out of COVID at that time, that training hits me differently, man, in a very good way. But it came with loads and loads of tools, which I will talk about some other time. What exactly do you need to start this process? You will need, number one, coaching education. You will need coaching experience, mentor coaching, and coaching performance evaluation. That is recorded coaching session of you coaching a client that is at least 30 minutes long. 5, ICF exam, which you can take online or in person at any of the exam center. The coaching education has different pathways, so you need to check the ICF website for more details. The path you use to apply is determined by the type of coach-specific education you received. So for me, I use the ACSCH path. Eligibility for this is 60 hours of coaching education, 100 plus hours of coaching experience. I had over 150 anyway. So it's no small feat to achieve that. You need 10 hours of mentor coaching with an eligible mentor coach. Now you can check the description for links to ICF website for more details. Let's move on to more specific key steps. So mentor coaching, I call it the absolute game changer. It's one of the key requirements for your ICF application review process. And it's also a massive learning experience. I was lucky enough to be mentored by Tracy Sinclair, who is an MCC coach of coachadvancement.com. So check out their website. I completed 10 hours of mentor coaching and several peer coaching sessions, focusing on the ICF competency markers. My mentor coach taught me the value of truly listening to the client's agenda, not just hearing them, but listening with curiosity instead of judgment. Now, let me tell you, once you stop trying to fix things and start listening more, everything changes. You will think you know so much as a coach and you should know not to do some of these things, but sometimes we get in our own way. I personally struggled with this in the early days of my coaching training, as it was a bit challenging for me as an agile coach, right? With domain knowledge, not to step in and resolve issues for individuals and teams whenever they present problems or a challenge. So for me, practicing and exercising my coaching muscles helped me make the shift. So along the line, I submitted several videos for evaluation to my mentor coach, and the feedback I received from these submitted recordings was actually valuable in supporting my learning. Now, let's dive into the challenge and the breakthroughs I experienced. This journey wasn't smooth. It wasn't smooth sailing. When I got the email that my voice recording and transcript were confirmed accepted, I panicked. I thought, Tutu, you are actually doing this. You're actually doing it. So from the time I received the email, the clock literally starts ticking. I had 60 days to take the exam. Initially, I thought it would take them longer to process my transcript and for me to get the result back. So, thinking back now, I was quite relieved and happy, but suddenly it became real. And I said to myself, Tutu, you have got less than 60 days. And I knew I needed a plan to scale the final hurdle, the exam. That's when I leaned into what I do best, and that is to bring structure into chaos, just like in Agile. So I created a Kanban board to track my progress, and I broke everything down into small chunks, into manageable chunks, and I also block out time each week to focus purely on the exam preparation, leaving no room for last minute cramming. That's not going to work, right? So managing work, life, and study was another issue I had to deal with. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Juggling work, family, study is tough. I had to be strategic. I'm normally an early riser, so I dedicated my mornings to studying when my brain was still fresh and well coordinated. So by lunchtime, I was already in agile coach mode. And in the evening, I prioritized family time and, of course, watch some videos. So if you're like me, maybe you're struggling to carve out time, I will recommend that you create a mini goal for yourself each week and celebrate those small wins, whether it's finishing a chapter or nailing a mock exam. Keep the momentum going. Now, to the exam day, the exam day experience. The exam day, let's just say it didn't start out as planned. It was pouring down with rain, and I had to walk like 4 minutes to the car from the car park to the person view center where I wanted to take the exam. I got there like 40 minutes before the time, and you're required to arrive like 30 minutes before your exam. So to top it off, the center wasn't open when I arrived. I'm like, so I stood outside getting soaked for over an hour, over 30 minutes, right? Not ideal when you're about to sit for an important exam coupled with nerves. But I refuse to let the weather take my joy. So I thank goodness I wore a long coat, and I was eventually let into the center. I dried off and they made me to feel welcome, which sort of compensated, right? So after that, it was all about staying calm, breathing exercises, and getting into the exam mode. So to start the exam, I wrote down few key acronyms and structures on the small whiteboard I was given, like the Daniel linear structure. It's sort of saved me when I got stuck. So my advice is take your time, breathe, and don't rush through the questions, but pace yourself, right? I know you have been waiting for the tips for success. So here are my top tips if you are thinking about taking the ICF exam. Consistency is key. So whether you're studying for an hour a day or a few hours a week, you need to stay consistent. Small steps, and also you pace yourself. So two, leverage peer support. Join a coaching circle or a study group. It's great to have others in the same boat to bounce ideas off them. Three, self-care. Don't burn yourself out. Take breaks. Do something fun and recharge. So for me, gardening was my go-to. Also, please, and please, check the weather before you leave the house for your exam. So, exam day preparation. So when the day arrived, I got there early and I was standing in the rain. But make sure you are hydrated, comfortable, have a clear plan for tackling the exam questions. So 5, one last thing, get help. Carry your family along. They can take up small tasks for you, meal prep, fetching stuff, and clear your calendar of fluffy stuff to avoid distraction. And limit social media. I mentioned I had an issue and 10 minutes break was just godsend. So here is a little personal tip from me. Watch what you eat before the exam. I had a tummy upset and went to the loo a lot the night before. And of course, in the morning before I left home, it wasn't pretty at all. I was so so thank God there wasn't any flare up during the exam, but honestly, avoid anything risky that could upset your body system. So, what is next for me after passing the ICF exam? This exam has opened up new opportunities for me, and I'm already thinking about the next step. So, whether the PCC certification or something else, I know I am committed to continuous learning and showing up as the best version of myself. So, for anyone considering the ICF exam certification, go for it. It's challenging, yes, but it's worth it. The journey will transform not only your coaching practice, but also how you approach conversations in everyday life. So, best of luck on your own coaching journey. And feel free to drop any questions in the comments for me. I'm always happy to help. And finally, if you find this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. Share it with anyone preparing for the ICF exam. And don't forget to subscribe for more coaching tips. And see you next time.